Good afternoon. Welcome into the Division Two football show. I'm Devin Albertson. I do this show every Wednesday. Usually, I do a college football Division One show Mondays and an NFL show on Tuesdays. But as you can hear by my voice, struggling a bit with a cold here. I'm calling the game last Friday, high school football. Sorry, I lost my voice a little bit, but starting to get a little bit back now. Take my glasses off here. I'm starting to get it back a little bit now, so I want to do this show to kind of share my thoughts on the latest stuff at Division Two. As I said, I am Devin Albertson, so make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Devin Albertson. Also, follow at X106_sports for all things Bearcat athletics. Make sure I tweet out some good stuff, whether it's Northwest football, basketball, boys and women's and men's. Also, soccer and volleyball seasons coming to a close, as well as other sports here at Northwest. Try to get all the good stuff there at X106_sports. But I'm Devin Albertson. We're going to go first to the coaches poll. Right here, as you can see, Minnesota State Mankato is number one in their poll right now. Not a big surprise for me. I thought Mankato would be the number one team after Northwest lost last week. I was a little bit surprised that Shepherd got more first place votes, but then was number two in the ranking, and there were 22 first place votes, and number two, Mankato with 10 votes. They got the first ranked, so I'm guessing some of the voters were not high on Shepherd, had them a little lower in their polls. IUP at 3, Midwestern, UND, Fort Hays, Central Washington, followed by Northwest and the Commerce with one loss teams, and Assumption undefeated as well in the top 10. Ashland, Ferris, Sioux Falls, you can kind of see there through the rest of the top 25. Only one team jumped in. That was West Georgia after Central Missouri lost last week. They fell actually to 27. 2 spots out. Shippensburg is right outside the top 25. Only 7 votes behind West Georgia right now. So other teams that received votes were Slippery Rock, Wachita, Duluth, Washburn, California, PA, Tech, and Notre Dame. So that's kind of what they had for theirs. Oh, sorry. So that's what they have for theirs. Northwest, of course, they had a 38-game winning streak. Is now over with as they lost last week to Pitt State. I'll get to the Northwest here in a minute. But that's what the coaches poll looks like. Now we're going to look to the D2football.com poll. It looks a little different, especially at the top of the rankings, where they actually have IUP number 1, followed by Mankato and Ashland with 1 loss at number 3, Shepherd, Midwestern, Ferris, Fort Hays, Northwest Commerce, and then UIndy. They're a little higher in the GL, IAC, the GLIAC than the coaches poll is, but it is what it is. That's what they have going forward this week. So, yeah. That's the poll I'm going to use for my picks for this week. I've been using the D2football.com poll. I've done a little bit of work for them the last 3 weeks. So I decided to use their poll instead of my own, instead of the coaches poll for the show. Next up, we have the regional rankings. Came out on Monday around 2:30 or so. Came out at 3 o'clock the week before. Always kind of interested to see how these move week to week. We'll go region by region, so it's easier for you to see at home. Also, easier for me to break it down individually. So we're gonna get right here with Super Region number 1. You have Indiana, Pennsylvania number 1. As you can see, Assumption and Shepherd all undefeated in the top 3. Findlay from the GMAC, they're number 4. They need to win to keep moving on, as they do have Ohio Dominican coming up. Next couple weeks, need to win that game to probably make the playoffs for them. As the GMAC does not have automatic qualification and earn access, so they have to stay in the top 7 to make the playoffs. Slippery Rock, Westchester, Shippensburg had a big win last week that I predicted right. Notre Dame at 8. They still have a big matchup coming up a couple weeks with UIndy from region number 3. And of course, LIU Post and Cal PA, they also have a big game coming up this Saturday. I'll get to it in a minute, but not a whole lot of stuff changing in this one. Shippensburg, they're hoping for a Westchester loss coming up, so they have a chance to win their division and play IUP for the PSAC championship. Different things going on with those schools right there, but not a whole lot. I think Indiana and Shepherd are the 2 best teams in this region, though. I think those 2 are the favorites to move on. I think Assumption's a little bit high in the region by the committee, but with the numbers, it's probably where they shape out there at number 2. But IUP and Shepherd to be the favorites out of region number 1. Now, region number 2, This is like the Gulf South, the SAC, the SIAC, and the CIAA. Wingate out of the SAC are the 1 seed, undefeated right now. West Alabama, the Gulf South, are number 2. Virginia State out of the CIAA. West Georgia jumped over Bowie State this week. Bowie out of the CIAA. Georgia out of the Gulf South. So they're looking at the Gulf South Conference and they're a little bit stronger. The CIAA gave them the bump there. Catawba, they're at 6, followed by Delta and Miles. Right now, Miles would be in over Delta due to earn access for the SIAC. Catawba, they're out of the SAC as well. Virginia Union, they're the CIAA. They got a big game with Virginia State this week. I think State wins that game. That's not my picks later, but I think State ends up winning that game and controlling their destiny to the CIAA championship. And the 3 best teams in that conference are all in the same division with Virginia State, Bowie, and Union. So I think they're going to advance on and win that. If State wins that, they're going to win the CIAA running away. Then Carson Newman out of the SAC, they're the 10 seed right now. And this one is kind of hard. I think actually West Alabama and West Georgia are the 2 best teams. I always kind of fall back and favor the Gulf South teams in this region because usually those teams are usually a little stronger than others. But we'll see what goes on. Wingate has a solid squad this year. Bowie State and Virginia State can put up points. I'm not sure what their defenses can do against the Gulf South teams, but we'll see more going forward. Miles is a big game that I'll talk about here in a minute with Tuskegee, possibly the SIAC best team there trying to get in to the playoffs. I'm sorry, and we are now going to go to Super Region number 3. One of the deeper regions. I think unanimously thought on Division 2 with you have the GLIAC and the MIAA in the same region. This can be a really tough region, even with the GAC and the GLVC in it. Of course, Fort Hays undefeated this week. They jumped from 3-1 with a big win over Emporia. Excuse me. Jumped over UIndy. UIndy right there, number 2. They've won 3 straight games by 50-plus points, I think it is. Maybe 42-3, 45-0, 55-0. But they pretty much play Northeastern State every week. So they haven't played very good competition besides their week 1 win versus Grand Valley, which I think is carrying a lot of weight for them right now, keeping them in the top 2. Ashland, the top-ranked 1-loss team. Their 1 loss was to Indiana. If Pennsylvania, remember, they're the 1 seed in Super Region number 1. So they have 1 really good loss, and that is an in-region game for them because they're both Ohio and Pennsylvania border each other, so it's an in-region game for Ashland. They're a really solid team. They have a big matchup with Grand Valley this week that I'll talk about in a little bit. They're stayed at 4. I was kind of surprised they were above Northwest. I know their 1 loss is to Ashland. Northwest 1 loss is to Pitt State, who's at 5-4 right now. But that extra win sometimes offsets that for Northwest 8-7. But I think if Northwest, I'll talk about this more later, but if they beat Fort Hays, they could probably jump over Ferris in the regional rankings. So we'll kind of see the Northwest's toughest game yet to come up here with at Fort Hays, how that shapes up in that middle of the region spot. Grand Valley with 2 losses. They had to play Ashland, trying to fight for a playoff spot there. Wachita and Arkansas Tech will have 2 big matchups this week at the GAC. I think the GAC is going to get a team in no matter what, even if the champion has 3 losses, as you'll see Harding there at 10. I think they're going to get a team in, whether it's automatic in the top 7 or earned access. I think the GAC will get a team in the playoffs this year. I don't know what they're going to do. I think the best team in the GAC this year is actually Harding. They started out the year 0-3. They've won 6 straight games, been rolling teams. They've beaten Wachita. They still got Tech coming up. I think if they get in, they get the 7th seed. If they get to play UIndy in the first round, it's a dream matchup for Harding. I think they could beat UIndy in a matchup right there and get the GAC a win in the playoffs. But we'll see what goes on coming forward. Of course, Central Missouri, they're at 9. They could be in prime position for a playoff spot with Grand Valley. A tough game this week, but they lost to Central Oklahoma bad on the road last week. So we'll see kind of what goes on with Central Missouri. But right now, it's going to be really difficult for them to get in with the earned access with the GAC. For Central Missouri to sneak into a playoff spot, it's going to be really difficult for the Mules at this point. They kind of shot themselves in the foot with that loss to the Broncos from Central Oklahoma. We have 4 matchups from this region, so I'll get to more in a minute. But next we're going to go to the Super Region number 4. Central Washington, Mankato, Midwestern, all undefeated, all the top 3. I think Midwestern's getting hurt a little bit because they had a hurricane cancel a game. They also scheduled 1 less game than everybody else. So that's what's hurting them right now, being that 3 seed. Mankato had a big win last week over Winona, who's a top-rated one-loss team, and of course Central Washington right there. They're one out-of-region games to win against North Alabama, so they're a really solid team this year. Central Washington, I know Northwest fans might remember 09, Northwest going up to there, blocking an extra point in the last minute of the game to win that one. They're a really solid program that's been down the last few years, but looks like they're getting back in the up and up, so it's good to see them out west give the GDAC a legit playoff team out there. But I do think Mankato, Minnesota State is the best team in this region right now. There's so many one-loss teams in this region. You see there's 9 of them in the top 10. That's what they got. And there's 40-some teams. I think it's 42 teams in this region. 9 have one loss or less. I know they have to play a couple more matchups here coming up. No, Central Washington has Humboldt next week. That's another 0 versus 1 loss matchup. Commerce still has to play Eastern New Mexico. So a lot of good matchups still coming up. Sioux Falls still has to play Mankato. So a lot of good matchups coming up in Super Region. Number 4, Minnesota right now for the RMAC, the only team in the top 10 from that conference right now with 1 loss. As they're trying to stay in the top 7, top 8 really, to get an automatic berth to the playoffs. Commerce right now, I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're still really solid. That 7-1 record with 5-1 in region is going to hurt them. Is why they're one of the lower 1-loss teams. I think they're one of the top 10 teams in the nation. I think they played Midwestern again. They would beat them. So Commerce is the team to watch out for in this region, I think, heading forward. Sioux Falls, if they get the running back, they'll be a solid team as well. But I think Mankato and Central Washington are the 2 teams to beat in this region. So right now we're going to go hide that real quick as, of course, again, I'm Devin Albertson. This is Division II football. Matchups this week. First matchup here, Fort Hays and Northwest Missouri State. It's in Maryville. Huge game. This is for the MIAA title. If Fort Hays wins, they get the outright title, most likely the 1 seed in the region. Be a huge stepping point from Fort Hays. And if you're Northwest, you win this, you get to share the MIAA title. You probably jump above Fort Hays in the playoff rankings. You get a home playoff game at least. Depending on what UND does later, maybe home field throughout, still in the playoffs, kind of what Ashland. So much things that happen in Super Region 3, but still a lot to play for both these teams. As you can see with the stats, Northwest defense, first, tied 7th first. They're really, really good on that side of the ball. I think their offense avoids turnovers this week. They had 6 turnovers last week versus Pitt State, 4 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 1 by the quarterback. So Martin had 5 turnovers last week. He missed a couple field goals. Just kind of a bad situation down there in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's still a good program. It's a little bit of downturn right now in their existence, but they didn't have a knack for upset Northwest. Northwest, it's slightly down, but I think Northwest, if we look at the all-time matchup of these 2 teams, Northwest leads 19-12 to 1. 13 straight wins for Northwest, including 11 straight since Hayes rejoined the MIAA in 06. In the game since 06, Northwest has outscored them 46.5 to 15.1 points per game. This is a different Hayes team, though. This Hayes team is really physical. It's really rugged. Last year, Northwest won over in Hayes, but it was a tough game. Lost Bain for the year in that one, actually, towards ACL. But I think right now, Hayes is coming in there. They probably should be the favorite. Massey has Northwest as a 10-7 favorite. If it was in Hayes, Hayes be a favorite. It's neutral site. It'd be dead even. So Massey sees these 2 teams as pretty much dead even right now. This is actually the first matchup all time where both these teams are ranked, let alone top 10 teams. Northwest has been ranked 11 times. The last 11 times they've met, Northwest has been ranked, and they've come away with wins each one of those times. Last time Fort Hays won was actually in Maryville in 1978, 36-22. That's the last time Hayes beat them there. So it's been a few years since they've actually played Northwest in Maryville. Between 06 and 80, they didn't play at all because they went to the RMAC. But Hayes has never beaten a team from Northwest when Northwest has finished above 500 that year. 0-14 all time. I think Northwest keeps that going forward here. They come out focused and ready to go from last week's disappointing loss. And Northwest will win this one 14-10 over Fort Hays. It's a really good game. I'll be calling the game for X106. So if you want to see the game, make sure you tune into X106. So 106.7 in Maryville. Tune in radio, search KZLX. KZLXFM.com, listen live. That's where you can find the game. Up next, we have Ashland and Grand Valley, the next best game of the week. Number 3, Ashland versus number 13, Grand Valley. Grand Valley leads the series 17-4 all time. They've won 4 of the last 6, but Ashland's won 2 of the last 3, including regular season game on the road 2 years ago before losing to Grand Valley in the playoffs. Ashland missed the playoffs last year. avoiding Grand Valley regular season, ended up losing to Tiffin and Michigan Tech after beating Ferris State. So Ashland, they've been a program on the up and up the last few years. Ashland does have a 20-game home winning streak. I think they keep that going here and beat Grand Valley 28-27 is my prediction. But if you're a Northwest fan, here's a couple things to look at here. You're going to change your opinion on this game depending on what Northwest does. Okay, so if Northwest loses, so let me get a drink. If Northwest loses, you are rooting for an Ashland win because that would drop Grand Valley to 3 losses, put them below you in the rankings, and hopefully you can stay in and make the playoffs that way. If you win, you want Grand Valley to win because that's going to drop Ashland to 2 losses. You could jump Ashland in the rankings and possibly jump Ferris State too because Ferris' 1 loss would be to a 2-loss Ashland instead of a 1-loss Ashland. And that's what you're kind of looking at there to possibly jump up the rankings a little bit and get a home playoff seat, get better seating. So if Northwest wins, you're rooting for Grand Valley. If Northwest loses, you're rooting for Ashland. So that's what you should do for Bearcat fans, kind of looking ahead to Saturday. Because Northwest, their kickoff's at 1:30. This game starts at 6, so you have plenty of time to decide who you're rooting for. The game might be on ESPN, I think, actually, so it should be a fun game between the Lakers and the Eagles. Now we're going to run through these real quick. The GAC, Southeastern Oklahoma versus Arkansas Tech. Southeastern's lost 3 straight games. Tech leads the all-time series 12-5-1. They're 6-2, or 4-2, sorry, against them since the GAC formed in 2011. Last year, Southeastern won 36-31. The last game in Tech was 2015. Tech won 57-37. I think they run away with this one. I think the wheels are falling off for Southeastern. Give it 38-21 win for Tech. And that's going to be a big win for Tech, even though they do have Harding coming in next week. Stay in the Great American Conference here for this one. The Mule Riders versus the Tigers. Northern Arkansas versus Wachita Baptist. Wachita leads the all-time series 37-35-1. They're even 3-3 in GAC plays in 2011. So these two teams are both really solid. Last year, Baptist won 40-37. Last time they played at Baptist, though, Southern Arkansas won 32-28. These two teams usually pretty close, playing each other. Sorry, I'm dying again, it looks like. My prediction for this game, I think Baptist has 2 tough games left. They got this one, then a home game next week versus Henderson for the Battle of the Ravine. The two teams are across the highway from each other. I think Baptist wins this one, though, 35-31, but I think Henderson State next week get knocked off Wachita and cause mass chaos in the GAC after Harding beats Arkansas Tech next week. So I think mass chaos in the GAC. Harding gets in as a 3-loss team in the playoffs, 7 seed, dangerous 7 seed in the triple option. Now we'll go to Super Region number 1. We have Cal PA at Edinboro. Edinboro trails the all-time series as Cal leads it 46-35-2, including winning the last 12 meetings. So before this last stretch for Cal, it's been a pretty close series. Last 12 meetings, Cal has won. Last time Edinboro won was 2004, a 42-28 win at home. That was homecoming. Last year, Cal won 52-7 in this game. Edinboro did go 9-2 last year after going 0-11 the year before, so a big improvement for the Fighting Scots there under Justin Lustig, who was coach of the year last year in the PSAC. Last time the Borough won, last time this game was in the Borough was 2015. Cal won 37-30, so Cal has won there before. I think Cal wins this one as well. Massachusetts 34-33. I'm going to go with 45-42 Cal. A lot of points in this one. 2 average defenses versus really good offenses. Give me Cal and the Vulcans to beat the Fighting Scots. And finally, we have here Miles and Tuskegee. I think this is going to be a fun game. 2 teams that have played each other for a long time over in the SIAC. Tuskegee leads all-time series. This is their 61st meeting. 47-14-1. Maybe 6. They have a lot of meetings, all I know. A lot of matchups between the Bears and the Golden Tigers. Last year, Tuskegee won 13-10 in Miles. No teams won back-to-back since Tuskegee did it, I think, 2011, 2012. So they're back and forth. Last time they were in Tuskegee, Miles won 26-23 in 2015. Sorry, Tuskegee's went to the playoffs the last 4 years. I think they could have went to playoffs before that. They had this weird thing for the Turkey Day Classic with Alabama A&M or Alabama State. I can't remember which one, which really took away from their playoff eligibility because they had to play that game on Thanksgiving Day. That's right in the middle of the playoffs, so you can't play in the playoffs. So you have that game as well. So they gave that up, though. I think they moved it early in the year. So now they get to play in the playoffs. They've won their last 4 years. They have one game in the playoffs the last 2 years, so they've been an up and rising team. They're 7-2 right now. They're in a 5-game winning streak since losing to Findlay and the road 61-0. But since then they've been really solid. And Miles are on a 4-game winning streak since losing to Albany State 34-9. I think the Golden Tigers win this game 24-20. Win the SIAC West. Will play Fort Valley for the SIAC title, which already beat earlier this year. So did Miles. So either one of these teams has a good chance that they win this game to move on going forward. Miles is 6-3 here. If you remember, they were remember which region they're in. If you can see, they're 6-2 in the regional rankings. That's because their one loss is to an FCS school. And sorry, when it's an FCS school, those don't count against you in the D2 regional rankings. Tuskegee, they're actually 6-2 according to that as well. Their one of their wins is against an FCS school, which doesn't really help in the regional rankings, which is just the way they do things. But I think Tuskegee wins this game 24-20. Massey says 21-17. Okay, so sorry for all the coughing. I'm trying to recover here from this cold. Working a little better. I can actually talk now, so that's a massive improvement. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at Devin Albertson, also at X106_sports. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow with Missouri 8-Man football here on Facebook Live and YouTube.